I am honored and privileged to be here with you. I see some familiar faces. It is, again, my blessing to spend the weekend with you, to learn with you and from you on matters that deal with the truthfulness of the Christian faith, the scriptures. Hey, Mark. It's good, like I said, it's good to see familiar faces that I haven't seen for a long time. Once again, thank you, Otsabuna, and thank you, Otsabuna, for having me. Like I said, it's a pleasure and privilege to be with you. I'll give you a quick overview of what we will cover this weekend. Tonight, we will talk about truth. Can you all see the screens okay? Okay. There are some short video clips. I want to make sure that you guys catch that as well. So tonight, we will talk about truth. We can structure the weekend or the topics of this weekend in a sequential way so that one builds upon the other. So we will talk about truth. Does truth exist? Is it knowable? What does it mean? And I will try as much as I can to balance, I'm not going to have a purely philosophical perspective on truth, but I will balance the philosophical with the spiritual as well and the practical. So we'll talk about truth. And then once we establish the conversation around truth, we will move to God. Well, if truth exists, which truth? Which truth? Theistic truth or atheistic truth? Or I should say theistic claims or atheistic claim or pantheistic claims. So does God, in other words, is the God of the Bible, or does God, the God of the Bible, does he really exist or not? And that will be most of our discussions tomorrow. We will then talk about God does exist. Which God? Is it the God of Buddhism, or the God of Islam, or the God of Christianity? Then we'll talk about the case for Christianity from, again, a philosophical, practical, and spiritual perspective. That's going to be, in short, the topics that we will cover this weekend. Comments or questions before we begin? Okay. All right, and feel free to ask questions, and I pray and hope that you're here with an open mind, just like I am. I'm here also to learn, like I said, with you and from you. So I hope that we can keep that open mind in the way we dialogue and discuss and guess grow together. Okay, sounds good so far? So truth, absolute, relative, what does it mean? First and foremost, when I say truth, what comes to your mind? And I would like to have some interaction with you, so please don't shy away, raise your hand and speak up. When I say truth, or what is truth? What do you know about truth? What comes to mind? Come on, this is going to be an interactive weekend, so I hope that you can help me out.
Primary source.
Primary source. Primary source. Very good. Okay, that's one definition of truth. Yes, sir. Christ. You delve right into the bottom line. Very good. Yes, ma'am.
A statement based on fact.
Very good. Now we're getting philosophical. A statement based on fact. What else? Evidence-based. Very good. Do you do data analytics at all?
Physical therapist.
Physical therapist. Okay, so evidence-based. Did you know that truth is at the core and truth is foundational to the academic world in general? One of the ideals that any college or university aims to have is truth. For example, Harvard University, the emblem or the logo of Harvard University is what? Veritas. You know what that means? Truth in Latin. Truth. Also, University of Pittsburgh has its emblem, truth. Also, Yale University, Lux Veritas, light and truth. So it's foundational to the academic arena, the search for truth. Not only the search for truth, but the attainment, eventual attainment of truth. So what is our culture's perspective of truth? What's our culture's perspective of truth? I was able to put them in three categories. First, those who say, I don't know truth. Truth is unknown. I don't know the truth. Who are these? What are these people? The what? Not the atheists, the what? Agnostics, exactly. Agnosticism is that I don't know truth. Gnosis in Greek means to know. A, as you all know, A in Greek is the opposite of, or without, or not. Like atheism, no God. So agnosticism, I don't know God, or I don't know the truth. Then you have another group that says all truth is good. All truth is good. In other words, it doesn't matter what you believe. You believe in Islam, Buddhism, Christianity, atheism. We're all climbing the same mountain, and eventually we're going to reach the same mountaintop. All truth is good. What's that group called? The academic term for this. So not agnosticism, but what? Not pantheists. Close to pantheism, but not so much pantheism. Pantheism is everything is God. But this claims that all truths lead to the same God. That's pluralism. Pluralism, okay? Or syncretism is another term. So pluralism, religious pluralism. And then the last bucket, truth is relative. That's what? Relativism. And the reason why I'm sharing these terms with you, because you'll eventually hear, any of you heard of these terms besides agnosticism? Okay, very good. So this is a reflection of our culture's perspective of what truth is. Now I'll ask you, before I ask you, our culture's truth decay simply says that everything is relative, including morality. That's why there's a notion of moral relativism. There's no one that can tell me this is the truth or this is the true way I should conduct or behave myself. Everything is relative to the individual, to the situation, to the culture that I was brought up in. Everything is relative. That's kind of basically the backbone of our culture. It's a paradigm shift that went from theistic worldview to atheistic, relativistic perspective. And that paradigm shift is actually had seen its fast-growing infiltration in our academia, in our political system, in the media, all over, all facets of society is reflecting that relative mindset. Everything is relative. Friedrich Nietzsche, the German philosopher who had a huge impact on the atheistic front in the last century, he said, you have your way, I have my way. As for the right way, the correct way, it does not exist. Yet he claims that this is the correct way, that the correct way does not exist. Now, what do these presidents have in common? It's just some humor before we delve into the subject. George Washington and Richard Nixon and Bill Clinton. Again, this gives you a little bit of an idea of what our modern era is all about when it comes to truth. What was said about George Washington when it comes to truth? He never told a lie. It was said about George Washington that he never told a lie. What was said about Richard Nixon and scandals and all that? He never told the truth. And Bill Clinton does not know the difference. And that's basically, and I'm not trying to get in political here, this is just some humor, to tell you that this is a reflection of our culture. We don't know what the truth is. We don't know what the lie is. We're basically swimming, as one philosopher said, I think it was John Paul Sartre, said, we're an empty bubble in the sea of nothingness. We don't know what the truth is anymore. But can morality be relative? And we're not going to talk about moral relativism now because we want to go back to truth. But very simply and quickly, is morality relative? Or can it be relative? Those who advocate that morality is relative, if you were to bring them here and ask them, if you were cheated on, if you were lied to, if you were hurt by whatever false advertisement, immediately the moral relativist becomes a moral absolutist. You see? So moral relativism is a nice, warm and fuzzy concept, but it's unworkable and it's unlivable. Okay? And we can, and again, one thing I wanted to mention is that these topics that I'm sharing with you, this is by no means an exhaustive exposition of the topic. I mean, we can spend the whole weekend talking about moral relativism. So forgive me if I'm only taking some snippets of these themes and then moving on to the next one so that I can give you just a general overview. Okay? But this is, again, not exhaustively covering this topic. Your Honor, my client pleads guilty on grounds of moral relativism. What you think is bad, I actually don't think is bad, so who's to say? Who's to say? Tomorrow, we are going to answer the very important question I was told by some of you, or I think Sameh, and I think maybe Bishoy as well. The question, can I be good without God? Or can I live a good moral life without God? Tomorrow we will answer that question in details, and we'll get back to this point. So here is something I want to share with you, the Creed. This is a poet, an English poet, his name is Steve Turner. He wrote a poem that reflects the culture, the Western world that we live in. This is basically kind of his evaluation or summary, so to speak, of our current life in the Western world, especially in America, in the US. This is what he said. It's rather long, but bear with me. He said, we believe in Marx, Freud, and Darwin, and this is how he wrote it, by the way. We believe everything's okay as long as you don't hurt anyone, to the best of your definition of hurt, and to the best of your knowledge. We believe that all religions are basically the same. They all believe in love and goodness. They only differ on matters of creation, sin, heaven, hell, God, and salvation. We believe that man is essentially good. He's trying to be sarcastic, by the way. We believe that man is essentially good. It's only his behavior that lets him down. That's the fault of society. Society is the fault of conditions. Conditions are the fault of society. We believe that each man must find the truth that is right for him. Reality will adapt accordingly. The universe will readjust. History will alter. We believe that there's no absolute truth, except the truth that there is no absolute truth. That's, I think, in my opinion, a very accurate reflection of our modern world. Would you say? Yes or no? Yes. Very good. Very good. What are the common objections to the notion of truth? What are they? These are some statements that I personally heard over the years on college campuses when I spoke on college campuses about the relevance and the truthfulness of Jesus Christ. Any of you heard of Veritas Forum? Veritas Forum? You can look it up online, veritas.org. It's an on-campus ministry that has a lot of useful information, audio and video that you may find useful. But on college campuses, I found so many objections to truth, and I was able to bucket them into or group them into just a couple of 7 or 8 main objections. And here they are. There is no truth. There's no truth. You cannot know truth. Truth is relative. Okay, these are the sound bites that you hear, over and over. It's true for you, but it's not true for me. It's just like the lady in the video said, well, yes, absolute truth. Yeah, well, it's absolutely true for me, but it doesn't mean that it's absolutely true for you. But let's put that concept to the test of logic and reason. How can something be absolutely true for one, but not absolutely true for the other? If I say it's night outside, how can that be true for me, but not for you? Anyways, we'll get into that as well. No one has the truth. No one has the truth. No one can claim full comprehension of the truth or attainment of the truth. All truths depend on your perspective. It depends on your vantage point. So these are some common objections. How can we answer these objections? And I would like to kind of get you to help me out. How can you answer the first one? There is no truth. What do you say to that? Think logically. Yes, sir. What did you say? Your answer. Well, how do you answer this?
I said that is a truth in itself.
That is a truth in itself. That is a truth in itself. I would like to answer these questions in a form of a question. favorite method of, actually this is if you study the scriptures, this is what Christ did 153 times. He asked 153 questions in the 4 Gospels. Many times he was asked a question, he replies back with a question. Okay? And we'll explain later on, I think on Sunday, we'll explain the benefit of answering a question with a question. It's not a cop-out or Christ just kind of wanted to kind of play games. No, but he was asking or answering the question with a question. What's the benefit? What's the usefulness of this? For example, what do I do to inherit? Good teacher, or good master. What do I do to inherit eternal life? Well, that would be actually if you're a Sunday school teacher or servant, and one of your kids came and asked you, teacher, servant, or teacher, they don't call you servants, but teacher, what do I do to inherit the kingdom of God? That would be music to my ears if I'm a Sunday school servant. Oh, let me tell you a slew of things that you need to do, and this and this and this. I'm so happy you asked that question. What did Christ say? Why do you call me good? Why do you call me good? Didn't Christ say that? Why do you call me good? Wait a minute, I'm asking you a question. Why are you replying back with a question? Another situation, another time. Can you please tell us if you are the Christ or if you're not the Christ? He replied back. He could have said, okay, I'll tell you, I am the Christ. He replied back and said, well, let me ask you, the baptism of John, was it from heaven or was it from the earth? Remember this scenario? So he answers questions with questions. This is his favorite method of relaying truth. But why? Because when you ask a question, you open up the questioner within his or her own assumptions. In other words, let me give you an example. Oh, good master, what do I do to inherit the kingdom of God? Why do you call me good? In other words, are you calling me good because you really believe that I am good, knowing that there's no one good but God? If so, then you must hear my answer as if it is coming from God. Do you see? In other words, the questioner assumed that he is a good teacher. And when Christ asked him back, the questioner began to reevaluate his assumptions. You see what I'm saying? In other words, apply that logic or that truth claim back on itself. And that's the method of, you're in law, I'll be showing, right? Right? I'm not going to. So you know what I mean. I mean, this is something if you're a defense lawyer, you use this tactic. But Christ was not playing games. Christ was trying to win souls by exposing the assumptions built into the question. Of course, also it reverses the burden of proof onto the questioner. Anyways, that's besides the point. There's no truth. The question would be, is that true? There's no truth. Is that true? Well, yeah. Well, wait a minute. You just said there's no truth, and you're claiming that this true statement is true, and you're contradicting your own logic. Another claim or objection. You cannot know truth. What do you think the response would be? How do you know that? You said that, right? How do you know that? Exactly. How do you know that if you cannot know truth? Another claim. Truth is relative. Very good. Who said that? Is that relative? Or is this absolute? Or is it relative? Truth is relative. Is this an absolute statement? Similar to the guy on the video when he said that truth is relative. Absolutely. It's true for you, but not for me. Now, this is a little tricky. What do you say to that? It's true for you, but not for me. Very simple. You ask the same question. Is that just true for you, but not for me? Do you get it? It's the same point. No one has the truth. No one has the truth. What do you say to that?
Is that true?
Well, you can say, is that true? But that's the first statement. You got to change it up a little bit. Well, you seem to know the truth because for you to know that no one has the truth, you obviously must have the truth. Do you see? All truth depends on your perspective. This is similar to the one on top. All truth depends on your perspective. You can just simply say, does that truth depend on your perspective? And it goes on and on and on, but I think you get the idea. You get the idea. So those who say truth is relative, they want to relativize everything except their own truth. Do you see? And here's something else I want to ask you. When you say truth is relative, it begs the question, relative to what? To what? Let me give you an analogy. You're driving down the street, and you come up to a stop sign, and you've got your foot on the brakes. And then you see the car next to you moving. Sometimes you don't know if it is actually them moving or you moving. So you press firmer on the brakes to make sure that it's not you, it's them. But then, let's say, you don't know if the car is moving or you're moving. You compare yourself to a building, right? But then what if the building is moving, and the car is moving, and the tree is moving, and everything else is moving? That's basically the seat of relativism. There's nothing that you are relative to. There's no absolute that you are relative to. So philosophically, relativism kind of refutes itself. Do you see? We're swimming in the sea of everything is relative. To what? Well, it's relative.